Hey, everybody, this is the Fantasy Sports Boss live stream Sunday, September 3rd, 2023. College football in all its glory returned yesterday. And we have fantasy football starting Thursday, Detroit Lions and Kansas City Chiefs. Wanted to just jump on just to touch base with everybody today. Wanted to, continue the season preview with identifying a draft bust for each of the NFL teams, plus some bold predictions that I wanted to share with you guys, during the stream today. Hope you guys are having a great Labor Day weekend. Anybody returning to school or whatnot after Monday. Of course, we have the football season starting on Thursday, like I said before. And listen, I can't wait to get going just as much as anybody else. So going to cover all those things today. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit that subscribe button and also the notification and the like button as well. Listen, yesterday, we discuss college football sporadically on here, but a couple of things that stood out to me during yesterday's game. Primarily speaking, for all the love that Caleb Williams gets at the USC as the prospective number one quarterback for the 2024 draft, don't sleep on North Carolina's Drake May. I mean, this guy has like Patrick Mahomes traits in terms of off-balance throws, just keeping plays alive, insane arm strength, all this other stuff. Drake May could challenge Caleb Williams to be the number one draft pick in 2024 drafts. That's how good he is. And how about primetime Deion Sanders? I guess the guy can coach as well as he played football, because he sprung the upset of the day over a well-coached TCU team, 45-42. I believe there were 4 wideouts on Colorado that went over 100 yards. His son, playing quarterback, completed almost every pass he threw. It was ridiculous. Over 500 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns. Primetime knows how to coach. So that game was just insane yesterday. But this is obviously an NFL fantasy football channel, so we're going to get back to that today. And listen, the big news yesterday, and I touched on it late, was that Cooper Kupp is pretty much guaranteed to miss week 1 for the Los Angeles Rams. And that's a big loss, not only for the Rams, who really don't have a lot of weapons offensively to speak of outside of Kupp. I mean, you want to give me Cam Akers off of, the last month of last season. Fine. Tyler Higbee, you throw the ball right to him, he can catch it. But just very, very limited player athletically. That's fine. But Kupp is a big loss for anybody who had previously drafted. He suffered a setback with the hamstring. This is just more proof of why you should have avoided him from the beginning, which I told you to not to go near him. There were 2 guys right from the start of the summer I told you to not go anywhere near, and that was Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp. Well, how did those predictions age? I got a lot of grief about Cooper Kupp. He's a target hog. He was the best receiver in football last year before he got hurt. Yes, true. No doubt about it. Nobody's trying to take 2023 away from him. Rather 2021 away from him. In 2022, he got hurt. But, he's 30 years old. He's on a bad team, bad offense, quarterback who looks shot and is 1 hit away from retirement. So that mid-first round price tag was just way too exorbitant. I was taking Tyreek Hill every chance I could in that juncture of mock drafts all summer. And when I had a chance to take Cooper Kupp in my 2 drafts, I didn't do it. So, and listen, and while I didn't predict he was going to get hurt, I did predict there would be trouble ahead, and he would not make a good investment as a mid-first round pick. Now the question is, how many games is he going to miss? Is it going to be 1 game, which, would be fine if you already own Kupp? And, he's fallen to the 3rd round now the last couple of days, and that could be insane value if he just misses the game. Even if he misses 2 games, to get him in the 3rd round would be huge, right? But again, these things keep reoccurring on aging receivers, like we saw with Keenan Allen last year. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but it's a very comparable comparison. So, he's even before this, Cooper Kupp has had a lot of injury issues in his career, even going back to college. And he was just a major risk that I did not feel comfortable taking at all. And I really pushed everybody to avoid altogether. And now, for me, I think it's going to be 1 to 2 games. Hopefully it's just a one game. Sean McVay calling him day to day, I don't think that's anything you could really take with a grain of salt. I'm still concerned, of what this season is going to look like for him. But if it's just a one game, then it's okay. We can live with that. Some other receiver news: Kadarius Toney is ready to go week 1. So no issues there. Andy Reid met with the media today. Kadarius Toney is set to go. He was the initial guy that everybody went after back in, May and June when drafts really start to get going. If anybody's drafting in May or June, you really need to reprioritize things in your league. But, now it's really been Sky Moore, the guy taking over with some Rashee Rice mixed in, because nobody really trusts Kadarius Toney to stay healthy. I mean, I've been speaking about this going back to last year, how you just can't rely on this guy to stay healthy. He had that one big game with the Giants, no doubt about it, against Dallas, but ongoing hamstring trouble. He's a little bit of a head case as well. I was not seeking out Kadarius Toney in any draft, whether he was healthy or not. All right, yeah. So guys, throw it. Make sure you ask some questions in the chat. Joe Castles, London or Dotson for flex? Ooh, that's a tough one. I would have to say Dotson, because McLaurin. If McLaurin doesn't play, I don't think McLaurin's going to play. So I believe it or not, I do have more faith in Sam Howell than I do Desmond Ridder. I liked Howell as a college prospect. I've spoken many times about the fact that, yes, he did struggle his last season with North Carolina, but he had nobody to throw to. He had no support. His entire offense from the previous season, when he looked like a first-round pick at the quarterback position, departed to the NFL. So I do like Dotson. I like Dotson in general, even with McLaurin, but with McLaurin out, I like him even more. Now, I am a Drake London owner. And really, it's interesting you bring up Drake London, because I'm struggling with him. In my one work league, my 12-team league, I have A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I took in the first 2 rounds, but then I took Drake London as my wide receiver 3. And listen, I'm intrigued by him. There's no doubt that Drake London is an extremely talented wideout. All right, his advanced numbers were really good last season in terms of separation, air yards, average depth per target. All of that stuff was glowing for Drake London, and target percentage. Whatever lens you looked at him through, Drake London was impressive, but the raw targets weren't there. Marcus Mariota, we all know, is complete dog shit. Desmond Ridder, I don't know how much better he is. I mean, I guess the bar is just so low. How can it be any worse, right? But Drake London and Kyle Pitts, for that matter, their value is completely dependent on Desmond Ridder, which is a scary proposition. Now, as a wide receiver 3, I'm fine with having Drake London in my lineup. Anything more than that, it's risky. I love the podcast. Watch them every day. Thank you. I really appreciate that, guys. I work hard at this. This is like, a second job for me. And anybody that does know me, I teach, during the day, and I also coach football. So I do this in my spare time. I've been writing the draft guides for over 10 years. I used to have my website. I don't do the website anymore because it got to be a little too labor intensive. But I still do the draft guides. Hopefully you guys picked up my fantasy football draft guide this year, but I really appreciate the support, guys. Thank you. Watson or London. Okay. So now the Watson or London, I would say Watson. And I'm not the biggest Watson guy there is. I think he's going to be up and down big time from game to game. I don't know if we're going to see like consistency from him, but there's no doubt about it. He's got that big play capability. PPR draft complete. I took Bijan Robinson 3 overall, and then took St. Brown. Pollard fell to the 3rd round. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's as good of a start as you could possibly get. Jesus. I mean, and Tony Pollard's been weird. He has dropped a little bit. He dropped into the mid-2nd round in one of my leagues. I don't understand that, because, he really doesn't have any competition, now that they don't have Ezekiel Elliott there. And that's what I was afraid of all summer when it came to Tony Pollard. But, listen, he's got the inside track to lion's share of totes and targets and whatnot out of the backfield. So, I think he's going to be really good. Fields, Lamar, or Trevor Lawrence. I like all 3, but I'm going to ride or die with Lamar Jackson over the other 2. Fields still scares me a little bit, guys, because I had Justin Fields last year. In fact, I had Jackson as well. And Fields saved my ass in the one league that I replaced Jackson with him. But when Fields got banged up and the running part of his game was taken away, he was complete garbage. I mean, his passing can't carry his fantasy stock. So if the running is not there and he gets dinged up and they just, they call fewer design runs, it's major trouble. Whereas Lamar Jackson, he doesn't have to run. He can just sling it all day. Lamar Jackson, a little bit of a hybrid between the two of those guys. He can throw it much better than Justin Fields, and he's just as good of an athlete and just as good of a runner. So, and I love Trevor Lawrence too. The only issue I have with Lawrence, and I've said this before, is that with the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts in that division, the Jaguars in those 4 games could be up pretty big that they dial back in the passing, and that would take away some prospective yardage and touchdowns from Lawrence. So that is an issue there that I'm at least mildly concerned about. What would be a fair trade to acquire Kupp if he misses several games? I mean, you could try to lowball it, I guess. That's hard. That's always a hard question to answer. If you offer him a wide receiver, if you want to go to the panicky Kupp owner and maybe offer him Tyler Lockett or somebody like that, maybe. I doubt it will get done. If somebody paid the freight for Cooper Kupp, they're not going to trade it. If they drafted him first in the first round, they're not going to sell him to you pennies on the dollar. I just don't see that happening. Just did a draft last Dobbins or Mostert. Dobbins. I would say Dobbins. Very, very close between the two. And I really like Raheem Mostert early on. I just did a draft last night. It's a bad I drafted Lamar Jackson and Dobbins and also Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. No, it's not ideal. I tend to avoid those things. I mean, the quarterback receiver stack is fine. Quarterback running back, I don't particularly love. And wide receiver running back from the same team, I definitely try to avoid that. Darren Waller looks really healthy, so I feel good about it. Saying, yes, I'm the biggest Darren Waller apologist there is. I mean, I have him everywhere. So I think there's some really, really big things in store for him. Does Trevor Lawrence run? Trevor Lawrence runs. Yes, he does run. I mean, anybody that saw him in Clemson, he does run quite a bit. He ran quite a bit in college, I should say. In the NFL, he's going to probably be around 300 rushing yards. And that's what Justin Herbert is around as well when he's fully healthy. He wasn't fully healthy last year. Rate this team: Prescott, Gibson, Walker, CD, Garrett Wilson. The receivers are great. Tight end is great. I don't love the quarterback. The running backs are just okay. Cook, I like Cook. Flex, Jets D, Evan McPherson, 12-man pull PR. I don't like Prescott. But you stack him with CD, that's okay. I'm not a Prescott guy. I'm not a Kenneth Walker guy. He's always hurt. You got to get the UCLA rookie to back him up. So that would be my answer there. All right, so draft bust for each team. All right, listen, if we could avoid all draft busts, then we would all be in good shape, right? But there's going to be busts that come out of nowhere that we're not going to be able to foresee. But some of them are a little bit more obvious than others. So what do you think I could get with trading Walker? You mean trading Waller, you mean? I don't think you should trade him. I don't like, who is someone reasonable for me to try and get? If you're going to trade Waller, you're going to get probably a wide receiver too. Somebody like that. You're not going to get a wide receiver one guy. Kenneth Walker. That's right. You had Kenneth Walker. I'm sorry. I mean, people are a little afraid of Zach Charbonnet, so I don't think Kenneth Walker's value is going to be that high. I think you should hold on to him and see if he has a big first week and then see if you can flip him. I don't think he's going to get you a lot. Maybe a Christian Watson. That might be somebody you might be able to get, a lower-end wide receiver too. All right, so draft bust. Let's talk draft bust. So the Arizona Cardinals, I think the entire team is just one big draft bust. None of these guys are being drafted high, so it's really hard to call any of them a draft bust. I mean, James Conner gets hurt a lot, so you could look at James Conner. But I think overall, the Arizona Cardinals, what's his name? Kyler Murray, probably not even worth drafting because you're going to have to wait on him, and this is a really bad team. So if you want to call him a bust, I'm fine with that. I'm iffy about Mike Evans this season. I have Dotson and London on the bench. Who would you start? I would start both of those guys over Mike Evans initially with McLaurin out. Once McLaurin's back, then I would put Evans back in. I don't like Mike Evans in this offense. Start Kenneth Walker or James Cook. Who does Buffalo play week 1? Buffalo plays the Jets week 1. No, I wouldn't do that. I would start Kenneth Walker. Keenan Williams is going to clog up that middle. That's a really tough matchup for the Buffalo Bills. All right, so the Atlanta Falcons, draft bust. We're going to have to go Kyle Pitts. You can't go any other player, right? He was one of the biggest busts. Maybe not the biggest, but he was right up there as one of the biggest busts in fantasy last season. Same thing applies this year. I have to see it first, meaning getting consistent targets from a Falcons quarterback, enough passing plays called by the coaching staff to fully trust Kyle Pitts again. All right, Baltimore Ravens. Who could be the bust here? I think Mark Andrews could be the bust. I really do. He was drafted in a late second round in a lot of leagues. I think that's very high for a guy. Yes, he had that one huge season. That's why people come back to Mark Andrews. But they brought in Odell. They have Rashad Bateman coming back from injury. They have a revamped offense that's going to spread the football around. I think that there's just a lot of Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar. There's a lot more targets now. So I think it's going to be more 75 catch Mark Andrews than the 100+ catch Mark Andrews from a couple of years ago. Start Dobbins or Cook. I would start Dobbins at flex. Drake London or Dotson. I think I talked about this before. I like Dotson slightly. How do you feel about Dameon Pierce? I like Dameon Pierce. I think he's a really good runner. He breaks a lot of tackles. He's a better receiver than he was utilized last year. He caught a lot of passes in Florida. I like him a lot. Yes, it is a tough first matchup. Kyle Pitts, he was definitely right there as the biggest bust. All right, Buffalo Bills, talking about busts. Dawson Knox, he doesn't get drafted high enough to call him a bust. I'm a little concerned about Stephon Diggs, where his head is at. He's been quarreling with the team. I think James Cook could be a bust because he's never been a bell cow back. He's been drafted very aggressively this summer. I'm not fully on board with him being a bell cow back. All right, biggest tight end sleeper and bust. Sleeper is Hayden Hurst. I think Hayden Hurst is going to get a lot of targets, and nobody's looking at him at all. Biggest bust, Andrews. I think Mark Andrews is going to be the biggest bust. I think Darren Waller was a much better investment between the two of them. Start Gibson or Brian Robinson. Always start Gibson in PPR leagues. In a standard league, you start Brian Robinson. Dotson's sneaky good. Yes, he is. And listen, the last quarter, I should say, of the season last year, Dotson was just as good as McLaurin. All right, Carolina Panthers draft bust. Miles Sanders. Listen, I've been all about Miles Sanders going back to the start of the summer, but I admit I got stage fright on him the more I looked into it. He was really bad as a receiver. His receiving metrics were terrible the last couple of years. He's no stranger to injury as well. I think Miles Sanders is somebody that's a little bit scary for me for a guy who's been going in the 5th round. Gibson or Swift. I got to go Gibson because there's less competition for the Eagles backfield. All right, Chicago Bears draft busts. I'm going to go DJ Moore. I know there's injury risk with Justin Fields, but DJ Moore, they don't pass the ball a lot. And Justin Fields is not a great thrower of the football. Even if you're the biggest Fields apologist, you have to admit he doesn't throw the ball great. And if his running is curtailed, there's major trouble. That's why I wasn't going after Justin Fields this season. Moore is a big play guy, but again, they don't throw the ball a lot around the red zone. They're going to keep it a lot with Justin Fields. I think DJ Moore was just slightly overdrafted. All right, Cleveland Brown draft bust. Deshaun Watson. It's got to be Deshaun Watson. He did not play well again this preseason. He did not play well when he came back last year. I do like him. I think the value was good, but I'm afraid how consistently bad he's been this summer and last year. Could he have lost it at 27? I don't think so, but maybe it's going to take a little bit longer for him to find his legs. Who's a lower QB like Rodgers or Goff and a flex player I could get trading Prescott? I would get Rodgers. I would start Rodgers over Prescott. I would start Daniel Jones over Prescott. I don't like Prescott. They're going to run the ball more than you think. And a flex player, maybe Antonio Gibson. It's not, Daniel Jones and Antonio Gibson for Prescott. You might be able to pull that off. Daniel Jones predictions. All right, now have to throw this out there. I'm a Giants fan. All right, so there's some rose-colored glasses here. I've been consistent about saying he's a top 10, 12 guy. He's going to run for 600 plus yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns. I think he's going to hit the 20 touchdown mark. Sorry, I got dogs in the background. That's that noise that you hear, guys. Sorry about that. I think you're going to see nice marked improvement from Daniel Jones. This is the first time he's had the same offensive system 2 years in a row. And that is huge for a guy who's still a young quarterback. So I do like Daniel Jones. I saw him in training camp. He looks good. The Darren Waller thing is huge. It absolutely is humongous because now around the red zone, he's got a guy that can go up and get the ball. He did not have that at all last year. Other than Gibson, I have him already. Oh, I'm sorry. I lose track of who's got who in the chat. Maybe, you could try for somebody like Aaron Jones would be too expensive. Maybe try Javonte Williams. See if you can get that. I mean, I doubt it. The market's not going to be robust for Dak Prescott. He's kind of an old news guy. He doesn't run anymore. He misses time and injury. I don't think you're really going to get anything for him, to be honest with you. Dallas Cowboys draft bust. Dak Prescott, just for the reasons I said, doesn't run, always gets hurt. Mike McCarthy's calling plays. He's going to run it more than you think. Denver Broncos draft bust. I think Javonte Williams is not going to be – I know there's a lot of excitement that he's going to be back week 1, but I think it's going to be a strict platoon with him and Samaje Perine, and I don't think he's going to have that burst pre-injury. Remember, it was a torn ACL, MCL, and LCL. Really, really serious knee injury for him. He's just not going to come back and be the same guy overnight. Detroit Lion draft bust. I have to say, you're going to kill me on this, but I got to say Jahmyr Gibbs. He's going in the mid-third round now. Even the beginning of the third round I've seen. I get it. He's the new shiny toy, but David Montgomery's going to get the goal line work, and I think he's going to get the majority of carries on first and second down. I think it's a severe limit on what Gibbs is going to do. He's going to catch the ball a lot. Yes, for sure. No, I'm not in any standard leagues. I only do PPR. I think Gibbs might be a little bit more than a glorified third down back. I could be wrong. We'll see Thursday. Can't wait to see how this works out between the two. But they didn't give David Montgomery all that money for nothing. So that's how I'm looking at it. I get Rodgers and Gibbs, and I give Prescott. You're never going to get that deal done. Sorry, that's never going to happen. How are we feeling about St. Brown this week? Listen, I love St. Brown this week. I mean, they're going to probably fall behind in this game, Detroit, and they're going to be throwing a lot. They're going to have to. Green Bay Packer draft bust. Christian Watson, to me, I just don't see it. I know he was really exciting, but he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers throwing to him anymore. Romeo Doubs is very capable. They have a rookie tight end in Musgrave who looks good. Aaron Jones can catch it out of the backfield. I think Christian Watson is going to be more inconsistent than many think. I think people are still enamored with him based on his big finish last season. This dude isn't too smart, though, but would rather trade be good for me. I mean, yeah, it would be good for you. See, you could try it, but I don't think it's going to work. Giants have a very tough schedule, Randy, no doubt. All right, Houston Texan draft bust. It's not – I mean – the only guy that would really go down as a bust is Dameon Pierce because nobody else is getting drafted high enough. But I don't think Pierce is going to be a bust, so I really don't have one there. Yes, Calvin Ridley absolutely is for real. I think he's a great bet to lead the NFL in receiving yardage. And he's got good odds for that too. Indianapolis Colts draft bust. Jonathan Taylor is the easy call. I think Anthony Richardson's going to be a bust. Anybody that's using him in a single quarterback league as their starter, I think is very foolish. We saw in the preseason he had trouble hitting routine passes. Accuracy is just not there. He needs a lot of work on the finer points of throwing the football. Yes, he's going to run a lot, and that's going to help, no doubt about it. But to be that dual threat quarterback, you got to be able to throw it. And I think it's going to be a lot of growing pains for Anthony Richardson. And I don't think people are really respecting the fact that he needs that much work. Jordan Addison, 1,000 receiving yards this year. I think only if Justin Jefferson gets hurt. I just don't see it, Randy, with TJ Hawkinson there as well. Jahmyr Gibbs is selected in the second round. Yeah, you see what Gibbs just continues to climb in the draft, and I think it's just going beyond where I was comfortable. In the fourth round, I was fine with him. Second, third round, no way. I took St. Brown over him as much as I love Gibbs. Needed that alpha. Yeah, no, I'm all about St. Brown. Listen, I reached for him 8th overall in one of my drafts. Guilty as charged reaching for him, but I don't care. I wanted him that bad. Gibson or Swift? I like Gibson a little bit more. Should I send Prescott for Goff and Gabe Davis? Yeah, you could try that. I mean, that might get it done. Tua finishes top 5. Yes, that could definitely happen. I definitely agree with you on Tua Tagovailoa being top 5. And actually, that was one of my bold predictions, so you stole that one from me. Jacksonville Jaguar draft bust. I got to go Travis Etienne. Tank Bigsby is a real good player behind him. He hasn't really caught the ball much in the NFL, which is surprising because he was very good catching the ball in Clemson. Kansas City Chiefs draft bust has to be Isaiah Pacheco. Jerick McKinnon's still there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still there. Pacheco has to prove he can do it over a full season. I'm not willing to go there just yet with him. Kirk passing yards prop is 4,200 yards. Someone's got to get those yards. I think Kirk's going over that number. He doesn't miss games. That's actually a really good bet, Randy, 4,200. I actually like that bet for Kirk Cousins. Also, Amon-Ra at 8, I love it, brother. I think I'm doing the same. Who did you take in the second half of that draft? I took A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown fell to me in the second round. I took him. Las Vegas Raiders. Cooper Kupp. What would you trade for him, give up for him? Oh, man, I don't want him. I just don't. Brett, I'm the wrong person to ask this question. I guess if you could steal him, maybe offer Amari Cooper, see if some, he'll take an Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen. I would do that, or Christian Watson. But I don't even think that guy is going to go for that. Always take St. Brown as my receiver one, especially. Yeah, I'm all about St. Brown for sure. Yeah, A.J. Brown fell in the second round. But it's funny. It's either A.J. Brown, Wilson, Devontae Adams. One of those guys falls into like the middle, early portion of round 2. And it just so happened to be A.J. Brown in this draft that I was in. Whereas in my other league, he went in the first round. So there's a wide variance between Wilson, Adams, Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and CeeDee Lamb about who's going ahead of who. Calvin Ridley for Kupp fair. Yeah, you could try that. I actually would do that. If I had Kupp and somebody offered me Calvin Ridley, I would do that. Would you take Kirk Cousins as your QB1? Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with Kirk Cousins as a QB1. He's durable. He's always out there. It's a passing offense. Yeah, he's way too risky, Brett. All right, wait and take off at the last pick. He was QB10. Yeah, you could, but the problem with Kupp is he doesn't run, and he doesn't do well on the road. Is very severe home road splits. All right, Raiders draft bust. I have to give you Devontae. You know what? I'll give you Josh Jacobs over Devontae Adams because Jacobs has that 370 touch curse from last year. I think Adams is just so good; he'll get his numbers. So I'm going to go Josh Jacobs, and he's missed pretty much all of training camp. Yeah, I think he's definitely going to bust. Chargers draft bust. I have to say Austin Eckler. He's got only one direction to go, and that's down. He's 28, tons of workload the last touches, I should say, the last 2 years. I'm worried about him dropping off this year. Los Angeles Rams, Cooper Kupp would have been the pick even before he got hurt. That one's easy. Miami Dolphin draft bust. It's got to be Tua. I know he's a lot cheaper. He's very cheap this year, but I can't call Tyreek Hill or Jaylen Waddle a bust. Minnesota Viking draft bust. Alexander Mattison. I don't trust him yet. We don't know if he can hold up for a full season. We got to see if he can prove if his body can hold up. And he really wasn't that good last year when he got the opportunity. New England Patriot draft bust. I don't think Stevenson's going to bust. I don't really have one for the Pats because they were all pretty cheap. The New Orleans Saints draft bust. I think Alvin Kamara. I own him in one league, but he's missing 3 games right out of the gate. His advanced metrics are starting to slide. Injuries are going to be an issue. He's 28, so I would give you Kamara there. New York Giant draft bust. I don't think Barkley's going to bust. I don't have anybody really for the Giants. New York Jets draft bust. It's got to be Aaron Rodgers. Behind that offensive line, I'm scared for Aaron Rodgers. I really am. Philadelphia Eagle draft bust. I think what's his name? Devontae Smith with a healthy Dallas Goedert and with A.J. Brown, I think the numbers are going to be slightly disappointing. Not saying he's going to bust, but I think the numbers are not going to come in where we think they will be. How do you feel about Jackson running backs? I took Bigsby. Listen, I really like Travis Etienne. I respect him a lot. He's a great athlete. They use him weird in Jacksonville. They don't want to. It seems like they don't want to give him pass opportunities out of the backfield, which is foolish because he did really well there at Clemson. They have Tank Bigsby. who could handle the short yards and the goal line carries. So I'm a little bit concerned about will he be able to reach running back 1 status. T. Higgins, Joe, I was out on him this year. I liked him last year. I feel like he's kind of stagnated, right? I think he's stagnated in that mid wide receiver 2 range. And he's, Jamar Chase is kind of standing on him a little bit. Pittsburgh Steelers draft boss, Najee Harris. I mean, Jaylen Warren, this could be his job before the end of the season. San Francisco 49ers, Debo. I've been hating on Debo for the last, year plus. I'm not going to change now. Seattle Seahawks draft boss, Kenneth Walker. Same thing. I don't like Kenneth Walker. He's going to get a lot of heat from this rookie from UCLA, Zach Charbonnet. They're going to throw it, I think, a little bit more than they're accustomed to because of all these great wide receivers that they have. And Walker also is one that's prone to getting hurt. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, draft boss, Mike Evans. I'm more comfortable with Chris Godwin with Baker Mayfield because he throws it short than I am with Mike Evans. I think that 1,000-yard streak is really in jeopardy. Tennessee Titan draft bust. You got to say Derrick Henry at his age. And finally, Washington Commander draft bust. I think Terry McLaurin because I think Jahan Dotson is just as talented, maybe even more so. He's got that big playability. All right, what handcuffs are you targeting, in your opinion? Running. Oh, the handcuffs I'm targeting are Tank Bigsby and Zach Charbonnet. Those are the 2 big ones. I think those guys can be monster every down, 3 down backs if they get in there as the starter. I didn't say Jaylen Warren because Najee Harris is very durable. And the only way this works is if something happens to Harris physically. He's proven he could stay on the field even when he's banged up. So I'm not as gung-ho going after Jaylen Warren. Can you rate my other team? It's 12-man, full PPR, 10-plus years of experience. Burrow, good. Cook, he could be good. Antonio Gibson, I see you like Antonio Gibson. Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Darren Waller, J.K. Dobbins, Bills, Bucker. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. Your running backs are a little bit weak. Cook could be good. Gibson's a good handcuff too, by the way. That's another good hand. He's not really a handcuff because he's got standalone value. And by the way, I am going to be doing the handcuff running back strategy videos. Those were really, really, valuable last year, I felt, because the whole strategy for those who are new to the channel is to get these handcuff backs before the game starts. So you don't have to fight waivers or the fab money and all that other stuff. So you pick up a Jaylen Warren before the game starts. If Najee Harris gets hurt, then you already have him on your roster. Najee Harris makes it through the game healthy. Then you just drop Jaylen Warren and you rinse and repeat the following week. Bench is Breece Hall, Gabe Davis. That's good bench with your running backs. Osborne, Samuel, Laporta. I mean, that looks good. I'm not a Samuel fan. Draft tonight, I have pick 7. Half PPR, would you go with Diggs, Lamb, A.J. Brown? I would still go Diggs. I would have them in the rankings that you have them right there. Diggs, Lamb, and A.J. Brown. Okonkwo thoughts. Hell of an athlete. Really, really good athlete. Guys like him and Jelani Woods, they're just not going to get the targets to make them consistent fantasy forces. The worst thing that happened to Okonkwo was DeAndre Hopkins ending up with the Titans. That was the worst thing that happened to his value, 100%. So I was interested in Okonkwo before DeAndre Hopkins. Now, not so much. Start Breece Hall or James Cook. You start James Cook. You can't start Breece Hall. They're going to be very cautious with him. I think he's only going to get about 10 touches that first game, and they're playing a tough Buffalo defense. Dalvin Cook's going to be the starter. They have Michael Carter there as well. I'm not starting Breece Hall until I see, and maybe even Javonte Williams for that matter, until I see what the usage is going to be like. How comfortable are you with Tyler Algier as a handcuff? He's another good one. That's a top 5 handcuff as well. Good call on that one. I think Algier has proven he could be a guy you could depend on if something were to happen to Bijan Robinson. If Kelsey dropped to me pick 7, would you stack him with Mahomes? I've gotten this question a lot. I'm not a big stack guy. The problem is when they're on the bye, your 2 top guys are out. Plus, if they're in a bad weather game, it hurts both of them. If they're playing a tough defense, it hurts both of them in the same week. So I tend to stay away from the stacks. Although that is the one stack that I would be mildly interested in. my answer, Aladdin, would be no. I would go Kelsey and then go in A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson in round 2. Higbee and Okonkwo, Johnson at tight end. I guess Okonkwo maybe. Higbee is just so goddamn boring. I can't deal with Higbee. A handcuff player is somebody that you attach. So you take the backup running back. So in this case, Jaylen Warren is a handcuff to Najee Harris. If you have Najee Harris on your team, you also draft Jaylen Warren as a handcuff. So that way, if Harris goes down, you have the backup ready. So you don't really get as hurt as you could. Whereas, if you have Saquon Barkley, you're not going to own Matt Breida as a handcuff. So that's not a valuable handcuff. That would hurt you big time if Barkley goes out because this handcuff is not worth owning. All right. I did that with Antonio. Yeah, Antonio Gibson is a very good handcuff, and he's also got standalone value. A few top-tier quarterbacks were selected first round. The top 3. I took my quarterback in the 3rd round in both of my drafts this year, and that's not something I usually do. But like I said to you before, I felt the 3rd round there was a noticeable drop-off at wide receiver and running back, and that's why I went Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts in my 2 leagues. I enjoy your meal there, certified. So guys, another thing I wanted to ask you about Thursday, do you want me to do a fantasy cast for the Chiefs Lions first half, or do we want to skip it for the first week so we just watch the game and soak it all in? I mean, I'm fine with what everybody wants to do. I'm definitely doing the fantasy cast starting week 2 for the Thursday games. And then, Sunday on Johnny on the spot with every injury. So make sure you have the notification bell hit, because on Sunday, those injury update videos come fast and furious. Somebody goes down, 15, 20 seconds later, I got the video ready. It's going to go up. I'm going to discuss the injury, the ramifications, all that, taking it a step further from the app that everybody uses that just, tells you, oh, this guy just went down. Now I'm going to go beyond that and discuss how bad it really was, the injury, the potential injury, and what might happen from that point forward. All right. What round would you pick up? 3rd. If I don't get him on my turns, then I'm fine. Rate my team: Bijan, Dobbins, Mostert, Olave. I like Bijan. Dobbins could go either way. Mostert for now is good. I love Olave. Higgins is okay. I'm not a Watson guy. Dotson, London, Kincaid. You have a lot of hot, cold guys, Joe, at the receiver position. So Watson, Dotson, and London all make that hot, cold grade that I tend to avoid. A.J. Brown with the Titans, remember that? Torrey Smith with the Ravens back in the day. Guys who just – Deebo Samuel, perfect example. Guys who just tend to run very hot and cold from week to week. What round? I did that one. Tough choice. I have Hurts on one team and Allen on the other. Yeah, I have that too. I have both of those guys, and I'm happy with it. All right, so let me look at some bold predictions at the quarterback position. So as far as some bold predictions, I will say the first one for me is that Justin Herbert will finish as a top 3 quarterback. All right. I think Justin Herbert is going to finish as a top 3 quarterback. He was banged up last year, but he still played fairly well. He is in a major passing offense. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, and now he won't get hurt as much if those guys go out injured because they drafted Quentin Johnston. They have Josh Palmer. They have Austin Eckler, the best receiving back in the league. They have Gerald Everett, a freak of an athlete at tight end. I think Justin Herbert is a top 3 fantasy quarterback this year. Bijan Robinson, number 1 running back, that could happen. But yes, so Justin Herbert, I'm riding and dying with Justin Herbert for sure. I think he's going to be a top 3 fantasy football quarterback. The other one I have going the other way is that I think that Dak Prescott is not even going to be a top 15 quarterback. All right, not even top 15 Dak Prescott. I think he's going to get hurt again. I think that this offense is going to be run heavy under Mike McCarthy. I want nothing to do with Dak Prescott. I didn't like the way he threw the ball last year. I'm completely out on him this year in terms of his outlook for 2023. Let me see. Any other off the top of my head? I think that I got one for you. I think Kenny Pickett could be a top 15 quarterback this year. I like the way Kenny Pickett is playing. I think people are sleeping on him a little bit. I know he was bad last year, the first half of the year, but he got better as the season went along. And I also think Sam Howell could be a top 15 guy as well. I actually like Sam Howell a little bit more than Kenny Pickett as well. All right, so running back bold predictions. I don't think Josh Jacobs is top 12. I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to get there. I think he's going to get hurt. He's got the curse of the 370 touch season. I'm out on him. The quarterbacks on my team, DH, I have Jalen Hurts on one team. I have Josh Allen on the other. As a matter of fact, I'll take pictures of my roster and I'll post it on the community page. All right. Also for the running back position, I think that Aaron Jones is going to be a top 10 back once again. Drastically underappreciated guy, Aaron Jones. I think he's going to be a top 10 back. I really do. This A.J. Dillon around the goal line is just not working. I think Jones is going to get more opportunities around the goal line, and he's already an excellent runner and an excellent receiver. Taking Washington for my week 1 survivor pool against the Cardinals. Sean, that's a little risky. I actually wouldn't do that. I would not do that. Let's see how Howell does. While I do like him, I'm not going to stake my survivor pool to Sam Howell week 1. Who could be the next Josh Jacobs this season? All right. I have to say, I think Dameon Pierce could be this year's Josh Jacobs. I really do. He is a good receiver. Didn't get used that much in the receiving game, but he's got a quarterback who's accurate and C.J. Stroud who can move the ball down the field. He did not have that last year. I think he's going to soften up the defense a little bit. I think Dameon Pierce could be that guy. As a matter of fact, I think Dameon Pierce could be, a top 7-8 running back this season for sure. All right, some other. Let's see. Some of the other bold prediction I was looking at with the running backs. So I don't think Kenneth Walker is going to be a top 20 running back. I don't think Kenneth Walker is going to be a top 20. I just don't see that. Pollard have that potential. I think Tony Pollard does have that potential for sure. But Pollard was drafted a little more aggressively. Jacobs was like a 5th-round pick, so I'm trying to compare draft slots. So I think that Dameon Pierce fits that a little bit more than Tony Pollard, who was drafted in the 2nd round. All right. I think that Saquon Barkley is definitely going to be, I think, more towards the 10th spot in terms of rather than top 5. I think Barkley has lost a half a step. I don't like his outlook as much this season, in terms of how high he's being drafted. How do you feel about CMC this year? I like Austin Eckler better at the top of the running back position. He's 27. He's had a lot of injuries in his career. He's got a capable backup in Elijah Mitchell. I think they're going to split things more evenly than we think because they want to get him to the end of the season healthy because they have really big plans in San Francisco. So I'm a little leery of Christian McCaffrey this year. Hayden Hurst worth start week 1 guy. Yes, I think Hayden Hurst absolutely is a start week 1. I've been told you guys have been high on Hayden Hurst. All right, what was the other one that I had? All right, David Montgomery. I think David Montgomery is definitely going to be a top 15 running back. I think he's going to score a lot of touchdowns. I think he's more of a receiver than Jamal Williams was. I think he's going to catch more passes than you think. And I think he's going to be close enough at Jahmyr Gibbs in fantasy points per game. When to draft Lamar Jackson? 4th round. I think 4th round is good for him. I think that's a good spot for him. Yeah, I told you Dameon Pierce I really like a lot. Who else did I really like? I think Antonio Gibson could be a top 15 back this year. I can see that as well. I think Javonte Williams is not going to be a top 15 back. I think it's going to be kind of a tough road for him coming back. All right, as far as the wide receivers, all right, so I think Chris Olave is going to be right there as a top 5 wideout. I truly believe this. I think Chris Olave is sitting on a Devontae Adams type season. So top 5, Chris Olave, absolutely. Calvin Ridley, I think it could lead the NFL in receiving yards. I've given that bold prediction to you guys already. I think Calvin Ridley is that damn good. I do think Devontae Adams is going to be closer to the 12 mark than he is, the customary top 5, this season based on his quarterback situation, the offense, just the bad state of the team in general. Who'd have a better year, Watson or Godwin? In a PPR league, I still think Godwin has the better season because they're going to be doing a lot of dump off short tosses and they're going to be trailing a lot of games. All right, who else did I like here? I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is leading the NFL in receptions. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown can have that Cooper Kupp 2021 season. I absolutely think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to lead the NFL in receptions. All right, DK Metcalf. He's not going to be a top 12 receiver. I don't think DK Metcalf will be a top 12 wideout. I think Geno Smith, he doesn't like to throw it deep. That neuters DK Metcalf's output a little bit. And I think when Jackson Smith and Jigba comes back, it's going to dilute the opportunities even more. Thoughts on Nick Chubb? I like him. He doesn't catch the ball. We know that. If he catches 30 passes, that's great. He's getting a little bit up there, but I think he's going to be really good for another season, no doubt about it. All right, Deontay Johnson, top 15 wideout. He's been drafted, in like the 20-25 range. I think he's going to be a top 15 wideout. All that was missing really were the touchdowns last year. I think Mike Evans' 1,000-yard season streak is going to snap. I think DJ Moore is not going to be a top 15 wideout, maybe not even top 20. All right. Oh, and I do think Jahan Dotson is going to outproduce Terry McLaurin. That's how I see it there. All right, tight ends. Mark Andrews, I don't think is going to be a top 5 tight end. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 tight end. I think it's going to be Hockenson, Kelsey, Darren Waller, George Kittle, and then either Goddard or Pitts. I don't see Mark Andrews being a top 5. That's a bold prediction, no doubt about it. That one's probably a little bit out there, you're thinking. But I just, that's what a bold prediction is. I think Darren Waller is going to catch 90-plus passes. Would not be surprised if he gets 100. That's how heavily he's going to be used this season for the Giants. And I think the New Orleans Saints could be right there as the number 1 fantasy defense this season. They're being drafted, borderline top 12. I think the Saints, that's the team I think that could lead fantasy and scoring when it comes to the defenses. So, but anyway, so guys, what do you think about Thursday? Do we do the fantasy cast the first half, or do we just start week 2? I'm fine with it. You're not going to insult me if you say, do it next week. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I'm not sure. It's like I'll go either way with that. I'm fine with what everybody wants to do. And how about this YouTube NFL Sunday Ticket? What a shit show fiasco this whole thing is. I don't know if anybody in here has it. What a pain in the ass to set up. Oh my God. I have DirecTV. I love DirecTV. I think it's a great product. I think that it's a shame DirecTV, who originally brought us, Sunday Ticket. It's a shame they don't have it anymore because I think it was a really good product on DirecTV. Now I know DirecTV is going to have the Red Zone channel this year, which is fine. But I don't know about you guys. I don't like the Red Zone channel. I don't like it. I just never liked it. I'm more about watching the game as it unfolds, and now I'm not this guy that also has, 8 games on at once. I like to pick 4 games and have it on the screen. DirecTV lets you pick 4 games sometimes. And I prefer that over the 8 because 8 is just too much. My brain's going to explode. I don't like this YouTube situation with Sunday Ticket. Jerry Jeudy could bust. Yeah, but that's more based on injury. Jets defense is very good, really, really good. They're going to get after the quarterback. Oh my God, that defense is scary. But as far as a bold prediction, I think the Saints is a really good value. Fubo's great. Yeah, listen, we're getting to that point now where, you're just going to pick and choose what channels you want. I know Spectrum just lost a bunch of their channels. They lost Disney Channel. They lost a couple of their ESPN. They lost, Jesus Christ, the college football season just started and Spectrum customers don't have ESPN. What kind of shit is that right before the season starts? So can you do a survivor pick every week? Yes, I can do that. I will do, and I'm going to do picks this year. All right. I didn't do picks last year. I'm going to do picks this year. I'm going to pick every Thursday night game, no doubt. I'll do a survivor pick and I'll give you 3 or 4 NFL against the spread picks as well. So I'll definitely do that as well. My thoughts on Darren Waller, he's going to catch 90 passes if he can stay healthy. The only thing that's going to hold back Darren Waller is health. Like that's literally it. That is the only one. So, so yeah, I'm definitely, hey, Johnny, how are you? I'm definitely going to do a survivor pick each week for sure. Whatever you guys want, whatever you're looking for, let me know. I'll do it. I'm down with that. So I just purchased a gimbal as well. I don't know if anybody on here streams, but I'm going to be, when I do my pondering walks in the morning, like I did that video a couple of weeks ago where I almost, got into it with some guy who blew a stop sign and some dogs almost attacked me and there was bees swarming all over me. I'm going to have a gimbal that I'm going to be using from now on as well. I got to see, I'll try to incorporate that as well. I'm going against the Cardinals in a depleted team, but may go my first pick the Ravens to be safer. Yeah, I wouldn't go with Washington. I don't know, man. That's a little risky. It's certified just on my other account. What's certified, Johnny? I'm not following you. What's certified? If I want to get it, I want to get it for all Seattle games. Yeah, I mean, it's a great product. Don't get me wrong. The Sunday ticket is a great product. But the fact that it's not on DirecTV anymore is just, more than mildly annoying for me, for sure. Sorry, pods from earlier. Just scroll up on chat. I don't know what that means. Okay. Well, explain certified prods. It's going over my head. Thoughts on Irv Smith Jr., Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid is really good. I mean, I watched every game this guy played in college. He is really, really good. He is a wide receiver in a tight end's body. He is really that good. Now, listen, we all know about rookie tight ends. It doesn't always come to fruition. More often than not, it doesn't. That was you about the Prescott. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. The chat goes so fast, Johnny. Sometimes I forget what I said 5 minutes ago. About Prescott, just get out from Prescott while you can. That's my best advice to you for sure. Dalton Schultz thoughts. All right. I owned Schultz last year, and I'm sorry, Johnny. My bad. It's been a long day. I do like Dalton Schultz. He's not athletic. Let's face it. I mean, I think I can challenge him in a race and be fairly close at my advanced age. So, he's a good red zone target. The whole thing about the rookie tight end, the rookie quarterback and the tight end. So they don't have a lot of weapons. Nico Collins, he's still very inconsistent. We have to see him do it. We've seen Dalton Schultz contribute before fantasy wise. I'm fine with him as if you really choose to punt tight end in your draft and wait very late, I'm fine with him. See what happens. I think he does. I think him and Hayden Hurst, are really good late round values at tight end. Does Tony deserve to be drafted? No, I don't bother. I'm telling you right now, I saw this guy up close here in New York. He's just a dog. He really is. He just doesn't fight through injuries. He's all about his ridiculous rap career and all this in his self-serving nonsense. So, Andy Reid likes him. Andy Reid gives everybody a chance. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he brought in Tyreek Hill for God's sake. So, he did cut Kareem Hunt. So there is that. But, so that's my take on that. But whoever asked me about Dalton Schultz, I would use him. See what happens early on. It is, obviously game week now. We got live streams this week. I'm definitely doing Football Friday like I always do. Thursday, whether I do the fantasy cast or not, I'm not sure. I'll give you my picks this week. I'll give you the survivor pick. I'll talk about who to start and who to sit. A lot of tough choices early on. I know for me, I have, Cam Akers, David Montgomery. I'm kind of weighing that one. Oh boy, there goes my light. All right. Whoopsie, that's what happens when you have dogs running around. They trip over the wire. Sorry about that, guys. My light just went down. My dog almost took it down, took the whole stream down with him. I kind of forgot what I was saying just now. But so there'll be a lot going on this week. And I'll make sure I have it all covered for you guys. Oh yeah, David Montgomery, Cam Akers. I'm definitely weighing that one for sure. So Michael Thomas versus Antonio Gibson in my flex. Curious to see what Antonio Gibson does with Bieniemy there, the OC. Which quarterback target the tight end the most besides Pat Mahomes? Listen, Kirk Cousins throws a lot to his tight end, as we saw when TJ Hawkinson came over last year. And I think Darren Waller, this Giants offense is designed to throw the ball to Darren Waller. I think Pat Freiermuth is going to be heavily targeted by Kenny Pickett. So Steelers have always emphasized using the tight end around the goal line. So I think those are some tight ends you can look at there. Rachaad White, he's a good receiver, and I have him in one league. He's going to get all the work out of the backfield. They have Chase Edmonds. Oh, my God. Memories of Chase Edmonds last year. Jesus. We all fell for that one with Miami. But I think White is a really good pass receiver. Not sure about him as a runner. He's a third-round pick for a reason. There are Alvin Kamara comparisons. I think Alvin Kamara was always a better runner, but when both guys came out, they were known for their receiving. That's at least White has proven that. He's proven himself to be a really good receiver. So I think Rachaad White as a running back too in a PPR league, it works. The Bucs are going to be trailing a lot. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot in the second half of games. They're going to be targeting Rachaad White a lot out of the backfield. I think it works in a PPR sense. But I wouldn't go too crazy about him for this season. So anyway. So, yeah, that's pretty much it tonight, guys. I'm going to be watching this Florida State LSU game tonight. I think you should watch that. This is a great matchup. Can't wait to see it. So, again, have the notification button hit. Have the subscribe button hit so you know when we're going live. A lot of live streams coming up. So make sure you're around for all of that. Jonathan Taylor will play this year, and if you can get him late in your draft, I would still do it. But I'm not chasing him at all proactively. But anyway, guys, look for more videos this week, more preview videos, live streams, all that good stuff. So until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend. We will chat soon.